Hello. So yeah, it's welcome back. I did leave you with the last time saying that I'd show you the what's next, which is my other project, which is this behind me. Now this is a 1983 VW Transporter. It's a T3, I mean UK T25, but that doesn't, that's not a thing. So T3, for those of you more astute, you'll notice the square headlights. So this is a Vanagon, it's T3. It's a left hooker, and it's a Spain or South American import. Now the paperwork is Spain, but I know that they made these for South America, but who knows? I've got all the grill and bits for it. I've just took stuff off because I'm getting ready to paint it. This was all rusted from the earlier pictures. Welded a new piece into here. Few dings, bings, bing, bang, bing, bong. Now, previously, I'll put a picture up in a minute. Ooh. It was quite patinaed and it looked quite nice. But the big problem was that it got to a point where patina had then turned into quite significant rust. I'll put some pictures of the progress as well. I'm not going to touch this because this is all still wet. So under these, now the window seals do seal the window against the frame. But the problem is water will still get between the frame and the window and will sit all along this trough on everything. And if the paint isn't banging, that's it. All it takes is a little bit of dust or sand or dirt, grit, to get in there. You're going over a few bumps. That scratches a little hole in the paint and water sits in it. Just rots it out. So I've had to go through all of the windows. These are fine. These I'm still working on at the minute. Ooh! Fucking trip hazard. There was all this up here. This was a different shade of white to the roof. So, and it was starting to come through here. So I thought, I'll have a quick look at that. Yeah, just poked my finger straight through it. It all rusted through. And it looks like they just fillered it. So I cut all that out. That's all welded now. I'm just doing this bit down here. I just had the English wheel out just to make a bit of a bend in that. I'm on that anyway. And again, window frames this side. Window frames this side. So with it being a left-hand drive, everything's on the wrong side, or the right side, if you pardon the pun. But I really liked the way it looked. I loved it. And the patina was great. But the problem was it was just too far gone. It was too far Vanagon, all right? So my plans are, look, it's not even lowered, right? I thought this was lowered, and it had like a Porsche cookie cutter wheels on it, and it's like, yeah, that sticks out a little bit because it had to have spaces on it to bring them out. Quite cool, thought it was lowered, not lowered at all. And I tested that. See, look, that's an original wheel. No dramas with that at all. So I think I am going to go back to original wheels. I did do a bit of a poll a while back, and I know all you guys, on my Instagram, shameless plug, the link's in the down there. And that's where I do most of my decisions for my projects. I ask you guys on there, and you tell me, and I sort of usually stick with them. Sometimes I go against you, but you are right. You're like Mummy knows best. And the poll was to go back to original, only just by a few votes, but I quite like the look of the original. Plus with these, because they're on a spacer, the camber's slightly off. Is that camber? Toe out, toes off. The toes off. And with the front ones, you need such big spaces to cover the... yeah, just look at it. You need such big spaces to get around the calipers. So my other option was to get a big rolling pin in there and just bang all this out, this lip. But this side's all right, but on the other side it's pretty rotten, so it's not really an option. So for the time being, I'm going to leave it with the wheels and the tyres that it's got on. But I will return to original. You guys were right. Let's have a look inside. So I apologise for the lighting. Oh, I've been looking for that hat. Oh, there's the keys. The seats are not original. They're quite nice leather though. The only problem is, I'll show you on the driver's side, that the chap, whoever installed these, the previous owner, when he was getting it out the box, cut the box. And I'll shine a bit of a light there. Yeah, bagger. But the rest of the van was so rough, it it looked like it was supposed to be there. The rest of it it's full of stuff at the minute. But there's where the battery goes. Underneath there is just like another empty battery tray with nothing in it. That is like a... Oh, lent on the fucking plate. That's just like a stool that I use for storage. That's moving. That's nothing. There's a fridge which tucks under there. It has come out a little bit. And this is a rock and roll bed. What else? Oh, there is a tiny little bit of storage in here. Not great. Pardon the sleeping bag. And I'll show you what engine we've got in this thing. Okay, so engine's in the back. Gearbox is also in the back. It's all rear wheel drive. I love the van because as you've seen, the interior of it, the space is massive. You've got loads in there. You're like, where is everything? It's in here. So with it 1983, it was on the cusp of the change between the end of the sort of popular air-cooled engines and near the birth of them adopting water-cooled engines. Right, I'll bring you in and I'll show you this thing. Now, apologies for the light, but this is VW 4-cylinder water boxer, which is like a water-cooled engine, and it's a boxer engine because there's two pistons either side opposing, boop, 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 so it's two fighting each other. Boxer, makes sense. It's water-cooled. It's run off a single Pierberg carb, which is horrendous. I'm having an awful time with it. I've took it apart, cleaned it, rebuilt it, new accelerator pump. I've been in it more times than well, let's not say that, let's keep it PG. But yeah, I don't know what to do about that. It works, it's functional at the time, and you know what I'm like, if it works, just fucking leave it in there, okay? But I'll probably change that to a Weber at some point. Everything else, the engine's solid. I know it was rebuilt probably around, when were the receipts? And the guy, it was rebuilt, and the guy had the receipts for it being rebuilt, so I was like, that's rare. Because usually it's the usual thing, oh yeah, I rebuilt it, oh yeah, perfect. I don't have any receipts for it or paperwork for it, but it has been rebuilt, I promise you. Which means they've done it and probably funked it out. But this guy actually had receipts for it. I think it was around 2016 or 2014, I can't remember, but it has been rebuilt. It is getting quite tired. So these are, I can't remember the designation for it, but they're around 70 to 80 horsepower. Not great, but much better than the air-cooled thing. Although, yes, I can hear you purists now. Yes, the air-cooled engine is great application for its own endeavours, right? It's great in its own way. But, yeah, I haven't got one. So, there you go. Also, something I wanted to point out, this headliner, although in really, really good condition, it has started to mould and discolour around the air vents and the lights. And with me taking the windows out, it's sort of like held in with the windows as well. If I show you quick, can you see that? Do you know what I mean? It's all tied in. And these pillars, it's tied in, and they're the fabric ends, and it's all paper. Now, of course, on the other side, you can see I've ripped all that bare buggery trying to weld stuff and rip it, get it out of the way so it doesn't burn the whole rig down. So, my thoughts are to change the headliner. As in, get it all out. Because I did use this before I started ripping it all to pieces. And the only problem I had with it is it rained when I slept in it. And it sounded like I was sleeping in a tin can. Sounded like I was sleeping in a tin can. It was very loud. So my thought is to take it off, get some battens, glue some battens along the roof, foam it, insulate it, you know, soundproof insulation, whatever you, and then just some chipboard over it, and then I can stick whatever I like onto it. And I was going to get a nice carpet, like a shag carpet or something. We'll see. Food for thought. Food for thought. So the plan for this is to do it up and keep it. I know I buy things and I want to keep them and do them and keep them. I know. Well, that's the thing. What I'm doing with it now is the exterior. So once I've got all the bodywork sorted, the yellow is going to stay yellow. I've got the same colour, went and got a beep beep spectrometer. I know I've got the same colour, staying yellow. All this white is going to go matte black. All the doors, the pillars, all of this is going to go matte black, and then the roof is going to go like an armour paint. I've got some like heavy tractor, like agricultural paint to go on it. Just because it needs it, really. And we're in the UK, you know, I can already hear you going, black, you're going to be boiling in that. Not really, it's the UK, so whenever the sun's out, I'd like to capture as much as I can of it. Everything else running underneath is fine. There's no real any structural rust whatsoever. So I'm going to keep it as it is, just changing the white to black, repaint the yellow. The interior, there is, I have spied one in a scrapyard in Wrexham, and it's a right-hand drive, so I might nick the pedal box and the steering, not the steering column, but I might change it from left to right-hand drive. There's a reason there's an original spare on that. That's because I keep hitting traffic islands like a fucking, oh yeah. Ooh, I'm going through Porsche cookie cutter wheels like nobody's business. So I need to either go back to original, and I need to turn it to a right-hand drive. So maybe it's in the pipeline. I'm probably going to change it over, because everything's modular inside, because they made them left and right. So you can just change the steering column over, change everything. It's all modular, you know. So that's in there. And then once that's done, I'm going to move on to the inside. And I've already given you a little bit of a with the what I want to do with the roof. The rest of it, I'm not quite sure. I've got one small idea that I'll show you now. All right? Yeah. Right. Oh, I've been looking for those. God damn. My favourite gigs. Oh, stay there. So, this is usually in the corner over there. All that. There's a small cupboard underneath the bed. I know, I mean, I haven't really tidied this out for you to see. But where the rock and roll bed is a chair, obviously. I don't really use that back part there. My plan was to make a cupboard from there to there, probably the width of that extra storage, aka battery box, and just keep all of that as storage, because I'm using this and it's crap, to be honest. It's like I think they use it as they did use it as a toilet, put a portable toilet in there. I don't want that. So yeah, fridge is good. Fridge still works. I want to keep hold of that. That's cool. It does slide under there quite. I think that's it. It slides right up against where the where that is. So it's right in there, which I'm pretty pleased with. They're not cheap either, so I'm chuffed that works. There's some roof racks for the top. Not really sure it needs it. I don't need them for anything, but I'm going to keep hold of them, I think. So that's the extent of the plan so far. As you can see, I've already started this. I have been slacking. I should have done a video when I first got it. I'm sorry, all right? I feel like I'm always apologising to you guys. And we'll get there. I'll get, you know, slow progress. Still got a day job. So this is the plan for this. And as with anything, all the polls and petitions, if I hit something that I want to do and I want to ask a choice, if I want to ask you guys, please, I'll just ask you, you know what I mean? And you do the usual, you tell me down in the comments. Or if you want to become more active in it, jump onto my Instagram. It's the same name, same thing. Right, and I'll be doing all the polls on there of what to do and how, where, what should I, please help, please. So if you want to become more involved in that, jump over onto my Instagram as well. A quick thank you as well to people that own the workshop, let me use the workshop. Thank you very much. I know I'm in here more often than I should be, but yeah, for most of the little stuff I use my own little unit, but for stuff like this, I just need the space, so I can't be any more grateful. So with that, I'm going to crack on with this. I'm going to finish this little bit of welding actually. You can come and watch me do that and then I'll leave you to. Come on. So this is what I've got on the go. It had rusted. This was all quite pitted, but I think I'm going to try and save that. I held this in place with a magnet. This was a piece of the stuff they sent me, which is a wonderful clean work surface. Everyone's like, why don't you use the tabletop? That's why. It's not mine, and all this stuff is not mine. So there's a piece of this, which was just a repair piece for those. And I cut it down, moulded it to shape. Well, I had to give it a bit of a bend on the old wheel over there. In fact, I'll show you how to do that now. Right, so this is, well, it's a variation of an English wheel. I haven't got my camera stand with me today. And all it is two of these, two arms, and then a rotor, which I can operate minimally. But a rotor that should go all the way round, and it pulls metal through, right? You can tighten it down by this on the top, or what have you. Now, for me to create a curve in this, quite awkward, because it's an angle. So it doesn't matter how much I hit it with a hammer, I can't bend one side without the other fighting me. So if I want to create a bend, what I need to do is stretch one side of this metal, and it should pull the rest of it up, in theory. Well, you'll see now. So if I wang an edge in there, and I pull it through, and go back, I'll have to tighten it down a bit more. Right, you can see that it started to bend up, so it's starting to stretch this, and it's pulling it up. It's only a very slight curve, but over a long distance, that will eventually curve this quite nicely. I don't want to do that too much, because I might need this in a bit, so there you go. Right, let's get back on. Hello, so I apologise, right, well, so we're back. I apologise, because, yeah, I was filming it, and I've lost the video. But I'll show you what I've done. All I did was get the piece of metal to match. Now, with rust, it's quite difficult. Surface rust is fine. You can grind it off and it's fine. But if you get stuff that's eaten through, if you get holes or anything, here you go, here's a good example. If you get something like this, you can see that that's a hole. So if I ground that back and try to fill that and paint that, is pointless. Because this will, once rust has started, it will eat. It will never stop. So what you need to do is cut this out completely. And you'll find that the more you cut, the more rust you'll find. You have to cut it all out and then weld a piece in. So if I show you what I did up here, it was similar. So there was a big hole here. And the more I uncovered, the more I could see. So what I did was cut a piece out that would be easy for me to make. A nice square piece, cut all the rust out, until you've got fresh metal, and then weld that plate in. Now I haven't done a very good job of that one, because you can see that there's lips and stuff in there. The idea is you get the piece of metal, and using a magnet, which I have here, I hold that piece of metal level with the work, hold the work level with the rest of what I'm trying to weld to, so that it's in line. Then I'll do a spot weld in that corner, beep, and then I'll do a spot weld in that corner, beep, and then I'll move along, keeping it aligned and then spot welding. You don't need to use one of those, any old magnet will do, or even by eye if you haven't got any magnets. And then eventually you spot weld along the whole thing until it's all sealed, and then you grind it flat, and then get some paint on it, filler it, smooth it all out, and then you can paint it. So that's where we're at. So the point of which I'm at now is I've got a few last minute bits to do. It's going to take about a week to prep this. If you follow the 5 Ps, preparation prevents piss poor performance. And with painting, it takes a lot of preparation. Like 80% of it is preparation. The painting will be done within a couple of hours. But the first thing is to do the roof, sand all the roof, and then mask all this off. Well, I need to sand everything really, sand all of it, and then mask all this off from the troughs down on both sides, and then I'm going to do the roof. That's going to be first. Ooh, another quick one I wanted to show you. I did a bit of a test piece with that matte black, so I had 2, because I thought there's no point me buying paint to do these. I thought I'll just use a rattle can, spray can. And I had a couple. I had a satin one and a matte one that I wanted to try. So here's the satin one. I'll try and angle it so you can see it on the light. That's the satin. Sort of like shiny, but not shiny. I'm not really that keen on it. I don't like it. But the matte one, I do like very much. It's a really much nicer finish out the can than the satin one. The matte looks much better. So I'm chuffed for that. I'm going to go buy 1,000,000 cans of that. Well, I don't know. I'll try and work it out. But I think that'll be a cost-effective way to do all these bits. That's the plan. I need to take these out, but you can see all the fittings are all rotted away. Well, not the fittings, but the you can see all the fittings are all rotted. Focus. There we go. Oh, that one's not even holding anything in. I'm going to leave the back window in. You can see actually from, because if you use your eyes, this boot lid is a different boot to what was originally on the car. And I can tell that because the yellow is not quite the same colour. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see this one's lighter, this one's darker. And then you can also see that crazy paving stuff. That is not original paint. And that is some sort of wanky latex stuff that they've not put on very well. And it's all gone crazed like that. So I'm not going to take this window out. I'm going to leave it in. I'm just going to mask it off. Although there might be a couple of bits I need to address up here. But we'll see. We'll see. If I have to take it out, I have to take it out. It means buying another seal. And I've bought about 14 million seals by now for the windows. I've got them all down here, look. Got them all there. This is a box full of window seals and all the trim. Now, I wanted the ones with the trim. Oh, I've got no examples to show you. Oh, well, yeah, I sort of have. This is a non-trim one. They're slightly cheaper, but I don't like them very much. But the older ones with the trim have a channel in between all this where you can press a piece of like a chrome strip. Not only does it look nice, but it has a function as well where it pushes the seal tight against the body and the glass so that it forms a better seal, in my opinion. But I mean, it's subjective, isn't it? Anyway, I've rambled for far too long. I'm going to get on with this, I think, and then I really need to start sanding. Eke more towards prepping for paint. Yeah. And before I forget, here's the wheel. You can see where I hit the traffic island, completely ruined the wheel, and it's ruined the tyre as well. There's a big cut in the tyre there, and the more observant of you will see that, yeah, I hit the same traffic island out on the way out and on the way in. So yes, changing this to right hand side might be a good idea. So I thought I'd show you on the roof a little bit what I'm doing. So I'm starting to sand from the back to the front. Now you'll see I'm not taking all the paint off to bare metal because there's no need to. It's going black. So I'm just going over it. I'm not pressing too hard. I'm just going over it, taking off all the surface and just roughing it all up. Trying to get everything I can, including the corners and the edges. If you do go back to bare metal, doesn't matter. So you can see that there's places where I am going to have to go back to bare metal. There's a big dinge in here. But usually where you do that with a sander, you're not really supposed to do that. You know, tip it onto its edge to work into a spot, because then I'll create a low spot. And I will have to filler that and then paint it, sand it and all that, so that it looks level. But with it being on the roof, I'm not too bothered about it, to be honest. Who's really going to inspect the roof unless you're up here? So I'm going to get rid of as much as I can with the sander whilst roughing everything up from back to front, and then I might have to revisit it with the grinder and a flapper disc just to take this rust right out, because I don't want to leave any of it really. This is the whole reason why I wanted to paint the roof, because you can see on the leading edges of these ridges how much rust that's building up. It's just in poor state really. I didn't want it to get any worse. I didn't want to just paint over it, so that's the crack. Okay, so that's the majority of the roof sanded. All the bits of rust and cracks and all the crap out of the paint I've got rid of. I still need to do this edge, but the power's just blown, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll bring you in next time when I'm doing a bit of sanding and hopefully a bit of painting. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Oh, if you like this and you want to see me do more detailed videos of this as I go along, rather than skipping stuff and putting stuff on Instagram, like the thing, do the thing, click the thing with the thumb, and leave me a comment, let me know. So without further ado, I'll see you later.